Hello and welcome to the Chop Shop. My name is Dion Tucker. In this video, I'm going to talk about an important topic. That's how to be your own best teacher. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I had an entirely different topic planned for this video, but something spoke to me in my heart and said, talk about this subject instead, so I went with my instincts. Before we dive into that, I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the channel through these instructional videos and through the Black Trombone Chronicles. The feedback has been absolutely amazing. And in the upcoming weeks, I'll be starting a Patreon page, which will be another way that you can support the channel. In the meantime, go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can get a heads up on whenever I put out a new video. The relationship between the teacher and the student is absolutely sacred. I don't know where I'd be in my career or life without the guidance of some of the amazing instructors I've had throughout the years. I want to thank all of you for everything that you've done for me. Most importantly, though, we don't want to lose sight of the big picture, and that is ultimately we are our best teachers. So let's talk a little bit about the process of how to become your own best teacher. It's important to remember that when we get instructions from our teacher, the game then becomes how do we give those instructions to ourselves? The brain sends signals to the rest of the body to create specific movements or actions. So our body is constantly in a state of learning. And what it's learning is how to match the expectation that we have in our head. When we learn a new skill, generally our expectations are shaped by the instructions that we get from our teachers, and rightfully so. The more we practice and the more knowledge and understanding we gain of that subject, we need to take a slight step back and understand we just taught our bodies something new. As your knowledge grows, the trust that you put into yourself should also be developing. So let's look at how trusting yourself plays into the process of becoming your own best teacher. Trusting yourself is something that can be really difficult for a lot of people. I know I've struggled with it, and it's something that I work on daily, really, to try and gain more trust in myself. Now, as brass players, we can oftentimes trust a methodology more than trusting what our bodies are telling us. And this is where things can get a little bit tricky, so we want to be careful here. I am a person who is guilty of trusting methodology over intuition, and it got me in a little bit of trouble. When I had to deal with focal dystonia, my body literally taught me, you're not doing something correctly. You need to find a more efficient way to get to your goal. So there was no teacher that could tell me that. Now at this point, my body is my best teacher, and it's time for me to learn. One of the biggest things I've learned through this process is that it's okay to explore. It's okay to try to find the most efficient way for you. One thing that you're going to run into, though, is as you start going down new paths, you're going to have trust issues because these things are new. And trust is not something that you just jump right into. Much like a relationship, trust is something that is earned, and it's earned over time. So give yourself a chance to trust yourself, and if it doesn't happen right away, give yourself a little bit of time to get to that point. Being able to observe and not judge is a huge deal when it comes to being your own best teacher. As human beings, we observe what's going on in our environment. And because our mirror neurons are so strong, it's really easy for us to imitate what we see. So let me give you a few examples. Let's say we have a jazz trumpet player, and he or she is checking out a performance or a video of somebody that they really admire. Now, our mirror neurons take over and we soak up everything that we see. So what they're observing, maybe they see their hero moving their head around or doing something with their valves that might not be the most efficient thing. But before you know it, those things become ingrained in you, and now you have taught yourself that's what you need to do. Very similar, trombone players, especially in the classical world, at the end of a piece, there's always like a pose at the end, and then the instrument comes down. Similar with maybe jazz saxophone players, or people are moving their knees up and down and that kind of thing. In my opinion, those movements are not natural to everybody, but we've seen that so much that we have copied that and we've taught ourselves that's what we need to do. Now, I'm definitely not judging the movement of any player. You can do whatever you want. As long as it sounds good, go for it. But when it comes to us practicing, how do we get into observation mode and stay out of judgment mode? When we make a quote unquote mistake, can we use that mistake as an opportunity to observe what happened? How did that not meet our expectation? Now, generally, we just want to jump into judgment of that wasn't good. I need to practice more. I need to use more air. I need to fill in the blank, right? That's judging what needs to happen. When you observe, you take a step back and you learn from what just happened. And then moving forward, you just let your body correct it. Stay in observation mode and stay out of judgment mode. The last point I want to discuss is building intuition. Now, this is something that's going to come with experience and time, but the more intuitive you become as a musician, the easier it's going to be for you to become your own best teacher. Every time we have an opportunity to play, we have an opportunity to learn, especially when we're working with other musicians. So let's look at how we can use those scenarios to help us build our intuition. Let me use dynamics as an example. So let's say we've been rehearsing a song and there's a mezzo forte marking on the piece. And in the rehearsal space, we've been playing this note at a certain volume and it was appropriate for what was going on. Now we move into a concert hall or a concert setting and the acoustics are different. Everything is a little bit different. And the volume that you've been playing this same note at doesn't feel right. Let's say it feels like it's too loud. And intuitively, we know that we need to play softer. So this is kind of how we start building our intuition, is we do things that we know are appropriate for the setting that we're in. Now, this is crucial because, like I said, with time and experience, your intuition is gonna grow and it's gonna actually make music more predictable. So if you know that you are able to step into these situations, you know that you are able to make the adjustment, ultimately, you're gonna start to trust yourself a little bit more. These are little steps that go into helping you become your own best teacher. I'm glad I followed my intuition and changing the topic of this video. Hopefully some of these tips that I shared with you will be helpful to you on your journey. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out, and I'll see you next time at the Chop Shop.